we have some fresh news coming out about Alpha 22 and the latest console version of 7 Days over on Twitter, from updated animations and new models to revamped wildlife. There was also an appearance at the PAX East event featuring a hands-on demo with the Alpha 22 build on console, as well as solid confirmation for the upcoming release window. Starting off, we've seen a host of updated wildlife models for animals in the game, taking advantage of the newly implemented fur shaders, from bears to boars and everything in between. The new shaders bring these animals to life that little bit more, by enhancing the look of fur and providing it a more naturalistic look, as opposed to the more flat and lifeless texturing we've seen previously. This isn't a huge addition that's likely to change the game in any significant way, but it is a step in the right direction to modernising and future-proofing 7 Days for the alphas ahead. When it comes to the ambient wildlife of 7 Days, the new additions don't end with improved fur either. The developers also shared an all-new animation reel for the mountain lion, showing off improved animation sets for movement and attacks. These new animations are much more detailed and fluid, which will undoubtedly help to smooth out some of the jankiness that we've come to know from enemy animations in the past. There's a range of new animations, from dodging, attacking, death and even idle animations, and it's highly probable that this treatment will also extend to all the other animal models in the game, either in Alpha 22 itself or in later alphas down the line. The wolf model has seen its fair share of modernising, with all new concept art shared by the Fun Pimps as well, injecting some more personality into the creatures in a similar style to the rehaul for the Grace model we'd seen previously. The wolves have changed pretty drastically, from the more true-to-life equivalent of wolves in the real world to the grittier and more undead variety better suiting the world of 7 Days to Die. In the concept art, we can see exposed shoulder blades and spinal column, as well as some of the blood and gore detailing throughout. What this means for harvesting meat from dire wolves, as was previously possible, we don't yet know. But if the new undead categorization is anything to go by, much like dogs, the harvestable resource may now be rotting flesh instead. There was also some new player character animation showcased on the official Twitter account for 7 Days that not only demoed new player sneak animations, but also gave us a look at one of the new player character models too. One of the more prevalent criticisms of 7 Days at the moment is the jankiness of the player character animations, especially in terms of aim down sights and gunplay. So these animations may go far to rectify these concerns. While I know a lot of players are not particularly excited about updated animations and modelling, it is sorely needed to modernise the game as a whole, especially when you consider how old some of these systems actually are these days, with the game having been in development for over 10 years at this point. The Fun Pimps have also pretty definitively scheduled the release of Alpha 22 for both console and PC for the summer of 2024, through a post shared via Twitter, which may or may not hold, as we've seen previous timeframes pushed back significantly in the past when it comes to upcoming alpha releases. Personally, I'm a bit more hopeful that the Fun Pimps will manage to meet the deadline this time though, mostly because of the amount of hands-on public demoing they've been doing with the console edition in the past year. With the summer release though, we could still be waiting a further 6 months at most, taking the interim between Alpha 21 and Alpha 22 to over a year, which may not feel as long for console players who have been without an updated version of the game for at least 6 years. In console news, the 7 Days to Die console edition was again demoed to the public at PAX East, revealing loads of new information from confirmed features and a rough release date. In discussions with YouTuber Spartan85, the developers shared a slew of insights regarding the new release, mentioning things like PC and console update parity, meaning both the PC and console versions will receive game updates in parallel, and confirming ongoing console support, unlike the previous Telltale version. He also revealed there will no longer be any plans to include split screen in the console editions due to the limitations of the weaker Series S console from Microsoft, as well as further drawbacks like limited map sizes, capped at around 6K for random world generation on the Xbox Series S as well. Unfortunately for console players, there won't be access to developer tools or the debug menu, meaning console players won't be able to use console commands or advanced camera features, or have access to previous builds of the game like PC players do, limiting console players to the most up-to-date version of the game available. There will also never be support for third-party mods for console edition of any kind, limiting players on console to a strictly vanilla experience and shutting down the possibility for console players to experience overhaul mods like Wasteland or Darkness Falls. This is kind of disappointing, as games like Fallout and Skyrim do support third-party mods, but I'm sure there's a perfectly understandable reason behind this. Interestingly, Spartan85 also mentioned that the developers suggested 7 Days to Die on console should be coming to Xbox Game Pass on release, providing a kind of compromise for players who had previously purchased the older console version, having to repurchase the new version for next-gen consoles. While this compromise isn't ideal for console players outside of the Xbox ecosystem, it is a good alternative to purchasing the new version at full price for previous owners who do own an Xbox console. For those on PlayStation, it's speculated the new price point for 7 Days to Die Console Edition should be between $30 and $40, but there was no further mention of a possible discount for previous owners of the Telltale console port for either system. Twitch integration on PC will also be releasing on Console Edition, altering the game based on viewer donations, from things like spawning zombies, changing the appearance of enemies like applying buckets to their heads or making their heads massive, silly things that inject a bit of audience participation to live streams. With the amount of time and effort that's gone into the integration so far, it does make sense to want to get as much use out of that feature as possible, and will be a welcomed addition to the game for those who stream on Twitch on console. That's pretty much it for console and Alpha 22 news for now. If you want to stay updated with all things 7 Days to Die, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on what comes next. I'd also be interested to hear your thoughts on the latest changes coming to Alpha 22 and the upcoming console release, so let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, why not check out one of my other videos on screen now.